Your life truly mirrors the quality of your thoughts. Every morning when you wake up, the first few thoughts that enter your mind begin shaping how your day will unfold. If you begin with a mindset of gratitude, hope, and possibility, you'll notice the world responding in kind. You'll see opportunities where others see obstacles and solutions where others only complain. But if your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, or negativity, the same world will look dark, heavy, and unwelcoming. It's not the circumstances that change, it's your perception that paints them differently. Your thoughts act like magnets, silently attracting experiences, people, and energy that match your dominant state of mind. Positive thinkers don't just wish for good things, they create a mental environment where growth and success feel natural. Think about it, every great discovery, invention, or transformation started in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it first. The Wright brothers didn't have wings, but they had a thought: what if humans could fly? That single thought changed the world. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb worked, but what kept him going was a thought: it's possible. Our thoughts form the blueprint of our reality. When you believe you can, your brain starts working toward making it happen. Your body aligns, your focus sharpens, and your energy finds direction. But when you tell yourself, I can't, your mind stops searching for ways to succeed. You close doors before they even open. The truth is, your mind obeys the commands you give it, whether they lift you or limit you. If you constantly feed it negativity, your actions will mirror that. If you feed it hope and confidence, your actions will follow the same pattern. Think about the power of visualization. Top athletes use it before competitions, not just to prepare physically, but mentally. They picture themselves winning, crossing the finish line, hearing the applause. That mental rehearsal primes their mind and body for performance. The same principle applies to everyday life. When you visualize success, not just dream about it vaguely, but truly see it, feel it, believe it, your subconscious mind begins to treat it as reality. It pushes you to act, to find ways to make that vision tangible. The people who rise above challenges are not necessarily smarter or more talented, they simply think differently. They see a failure as feedback, a delay as preparation, a challenge as an opportunity to grow stronger. Their inner dialogue empowers them instead of defeating them. They understand that every external change begins with an internal shift. If you want to change your job, your health, your relationships, or your success level, it has to begin with how you think about them. For instance, if you constantly tell yourself, I'm not lucky, you train your mind to overlook every opportunity that comes your way. You won't take chances, you won't apply for that position, you won't meet new people. Because your thoughts already convinced you that it's pointless. On the other hand, if your belief is, I create my own luck, you become more proactive, more aware, more open. The universe doesn't change, you do. And that change reflects in what you attract. Every thought carries energy. Positive thoughts vibrate at a higher frequency, and they attract similar vibrations: positivity, creativity, kindness, and success. Negative thoughts carry heavy energy. They draw in fear, worry, and stagnation. You can't plant negative seeds and expect positive fruit. If you want a better life, you must start by improving the quality of your mental soil. Replace I can't with I can learn. Replace it's impossible with let's find a way. Replace I failed with I'm growing. Slowly, you begin to rewire your mind for abundance instead of scarcity. Your external world is nothing more than a projection of your internal thoughts. When you think confidently, you walk differently, speak differently, and attract different outcomes. People notice your energy and respond to it. Opportunities that once seemed far away begin to gravitate towards you because your mindset aligns with success. This is why two people can face the same situation. One sees disaster, the other sees destiny. The difference is not luck, it's mindset. So, if you ever feel stuck, lost, or limited, pause and look within. Ask yourself, what thoughts am I nurturing daily? Are they helping me grow or are they holding me back? The mind is like a garden, it will grow whatever you plant. Whether that's weeds of doubt or flowers of possibility is entirely your choice. The moment you choose to think differently, you begin to live differently. The moment you realize that your thoughts are not just ideas but creative forces, you'll stop underestimating their power, because every great change you seek outside of you starts with a single decision inside your mind. The decision to think higher, think brighter, and think with purpose. A fixed mindset believes that abilities, intelligence, and talents are unchangeable, something you're born with and can never truly improve. People who think this way see effort as pointless and failure as a reflection of who they are. If they fail once, they assume they are not good enough. If someone else succeeds, they feel threatened instead of inspired. Their entire outlook is shaped by the fear of being judged or exposed as not capable. So they avoid challenges, resist feedback, and stay within the boundaries of comfort because the risk of failing feels too painful to bear. But what they don't realize is that this fear quietly builds walls around their potential. On the other hand, a growth mindset sees things differently. It's built on the belief that intelligence and abilities can be developed through hard work, practice, and persistence. A person with a growth mindset doesn't say, I can't do this. They say, I can't do this yet. That one word yet opens a world of possibility. It means the journey isn't over. It means there's still room to learn, to improve, to become better than before. This single shift in language turns limitation into motivation. It changes failure from something to fear into something to learn from. When you embrace a growth mindset, you begin to see challenges as opportunities for development rather than proof of inadequacy. You welcome feedback because you know it helps you grow. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with the person you were yesterday. Progress becomes more important than perfection, and effort becomes a badge of honor, not a sign of weakness. People with a growth mindset understand that every skill, whether it's speaking, leading, creating, or performing, is built through repetition, patience, and the willingness to keep trying even when it's hard. Consider how children learn to walk. They fall hundreds of times, but they don't stop trying. They don't think, maybe walking just isn't for me. They get up again and again until they succeed. That's pure growth mindset in action, the belief that failure is just part of learning. Somewhere along the way, many of us forget that. We begin to fear mistakes, embarrassment, or judgment. But the truth is, every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are now, unsure, uncomfortable, and inexperienced. The only difference is they didn't stay there. They chose to grow through the discomfort instead of running from it. A growth mindset transforms how you handle obstacles. Instead of saying, this is too hard, you start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of quitting, you adapt. You start to understand that skill and mastery are not gifts, but results of consistent learning. Thomas Edison, when asked about his thousands of failed attempts to create the light bulb, simply said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is the essence of a growth mindset: persistence without shame, curiosity without fear. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about redefining it. A person with a fixed mindset may see a mountain and think, it's too high to climb. Someone with a growth mindset sees the same mountain and thinks, it looks tough, but I can train, prepare, and get stronger. The mountain doesn't shrink, you grow. That's the power of perspective. Every time you push through something difficult, your confidence expands. Every time you learn something new, your brain literally changes, building new pathways that make future challenges easier to face. Even neuroscience supports this idea. Studies have shown that the brain is not fixed, it's plastic. It grows and reshapes itself based on how you use it. The more you challenge your mind, the more it adapts. So when you say, I can't do this yet, and then act on it, when you try, fail, adjust, and try again, you're literally rewiring your brain for success. Every bit of effort compounds over time, turning weakness into strength. A growth mindset also nurtures resilience. It teaches you that effort is never wasted because every experience carries a lesson. Instead of feeling defeated when you fall short, you look for patterns, feedback, and ways to do better next time. You stop seeing success as a single event and start seeing it as a process, a continuous evolution. That mindset removes the pressure to be perfect and replaces it with the drive to be better When you start viewing challenges as opportunities instead of threats, your relationship with fear changes too. Fear no longer stops you, it guides you. It shows you where growth lies. The very things you're afraid to try often hold the keys to your next level. And when you adopt a growth mindset, you stop being scared of looking foolish or making mistakes because you understand that's how mastery begins. Ultimately, what separates those who stagnate from those who rise isn't luck or talent, it's mindset. Two people can face the same problem, but their inner dialogue decides their direction. One says, I can't do this, and gives up. The other says, I can't do this yet, and keeps going until they can. Over time, that persistence builds strength, wisdom, and confidence. Growth isn't just about success, it's about transformation, the kind that happens deep within when you decide that no limitation is permanent, no failure final, and no goal too far when your mind is open to growth. Failure is not the end, it's feedback. It's life's way of teaching you something that success could never explain. Every mistake, every disappointment, every loss carries a hidden message, a lesson designed to help you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. The difference between people who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't that one group avoids failure, it's that they interpret it differently. One sees failure as the end of the road, while the other sees it as a detour, a necessary turn on the journey to greatness. When you adopt the mindset that failure is feedback, everything changes. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That one question shifts your focus from pain to progress. It transforms frustration into curiosity. Suddenly, the failure doesn't feel like a punishment, it feels like preparation. You begin to understand that every successful person you admire today has a long list of failures behind them, not in spite of their success, but because of it. Think of Thomas Edison, who famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Every experiment that didn't succeed brought him closer to the one that did. Or J.K. Rowling, who was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Each rejection was feedback not about her worth, but about how to refine her approach. The same applies to Michael Jordan, who missed more than 9,000 shots in his career. He once said, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. These people didn't avoid failure. They embraced it, Lear. Ned from it, and came back stronger. The truth is, failure is inevitable. You can't grow without it. You can't become exceptional without stumbling, falling, and starting over. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail, they're the ones who refuse to stop when they do. They treat failure as feedback, a form of guidance that tells them what works, what doesn't, and what needs to change. Each setback becomes a step forward, each disappointment a part of the process. When you view failure as the end, you lose momentum. You stop trying, and your potential begins to shrink. But when you see failure as feedback, you become unstoppable. You start experimenting, taking risks, and pushing boundaries. You learn to separate your self-worth from your results. Just because something didn't work doesn't mean you are a failure. It simply means you discovered one way that didn't lead to your goal, and now you're wiser because of it. Failure also teaches resilience, the mental toughness to keep moving even when things fall apart. It forces you to confront discomfort, adapt to change, and strengthen your inner core. Without failure, you'd never develop patience, humility, or determination. Every time you fall and get back up, you build emotional muscles that prepare you for bigger challenges. That's why people with strong mindsets don't fear failure, they respect it. They understand it's part of the process of becoming their best selves. Moreover, failure has the power to reveal who you truly are. It strips away ego and exposes what really drives you. When everything goes wrong, you discover your values, your persistence, and your willingness to fight for what matters. Some people give up at the first sign of struggle, others use the pain as fuel. That's the real test, not how you perform when everything is going right, but how you respond when nothing seems to work. Failure also makes success more meaningful. If you succeeded at everything on the first try, you wouldn't appreciate the achievement. The struggle, the lessons, and the pain give value to victory. They shape your story, adding depth and authenticity that inspire others. Success without failure is empty, it lacks character. But success that comes after countless failures carries pride, gratitude, and a sense of purpose that no shortcut can ever give. The problem is, many people are conditioned to fear failure from a young age. They equate it with shame, rejection, or incompetence. But the moment you redefine it, the moment you realize failure is not a dead end, but a doorway, you free yourself. You stop playing safe and start playing bold. You take more chances because you know even if you fall, you'll rise again better, smarter, and stronger. So when things don't go as planned, pause and reflect. Ask yourself what went wrong, what can I learn, what will I do differently next time? These questions turn failure into feedback, a personal growth tool that sharpens your focus and strengthens your resolve. Ever. Why failure carries seeds of success if you're willing to look closely enough. Remember, diamonds are made under pressure. Seeds grow through dirt, stars shine in darkness. Likewise, your greatest strength will emerge through your lowest moments. Failure isn't there to stop you, it's there to shape you, to carve the kind of wisdom, character, and resilience that ordinary success never could. And the more you embrace it, the faster you transform it from your greatest fear into your most powerful teacher. The words you tell yourself every single day shape how you see yourself, how you act, and ultimately, what you become. The voice inside your mind is more powerful than the voices of critics, friends, or even mentors, because it's the one you hear the most. That internal dialogue, your self-talk, becomes the script that guides your confidence, your decisions, and your emotional strength. If that script is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, your life will reflect exactly that. But if it's filled with belief, hope, and encouragement, you'll begin to see your world transform in ways you never imagined. Every action you take starts with a thought, and that thought is shaped by how you talk to yourself. When you constantly say, I'm not good enough, it'll probably fail, or I don't deserve this, your subconscious mind accepts those words as truth. It begins to align your behavior with those beliefs, holding you back from opportunities, relationships, and dreams. You unconsciously create barriers that didn't exist before, not because life put them there, but because your self-talk convinced you they were real. Positive self-talk, on the other hand, builds mental strength and confidence. It's not about pretending everything is perfect, it's about choosing a mindset that helps you move forward even when things aren't. When you replace "I can't do this" with "I'll find a way," you shift from helplessness to determination. That shift might seem small, but it's powerful. It tells your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. It opens your awareness to opportunities that a negative mindset would never notice. Think about how you would speak to a friend who's struggling. You'd encourage them, remind them of their potential, and lift them up. But when it comes to ourselves, we often do the opposite. We criticize, judge, and tear ourselves down. The irony is that we expect confidence to appear out of nowhere while constantly feeding ourselves words that destroy it. The truth is, confidence isn't built through external validation, it's built through consistent, positive self-talk. Every time you affirm your ability, you strengthen your mental foundation. Scientific research supports this. The brain doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. It reacts to words and images the same way it does to actual experiences. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you're capable, strong, and worthy, your brain begins to rewire itself to believe it. It releases chemicals that boost motiva, and focus, making it easier to take action. Over time, those small internal affirmations build lasting confidence. But the opposite is also true. Negative self-talk reinforces fear and self-doubt. When you say, "I always mess up," your brain stores that as evidence. The next time you face a challenge, it recalls that proof and convinces you not to try. It's a mental trap, one that only you have the power to escape. The moment you challenge those thoughts and replace them with empowering ones, you begin breaking that cycle. One of the most effective ways to change your internal dialogue is to become aware of it. Most of the time, we're not even conscious of what we're telling ourselves. Start paying attention to your thoughts during difficult moments. Notice the language you use. Are you being supportive or self-destructive? Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you recognize negative patterns, you can start rewriting them intentionally. For example, instead of saying, I always fail at this, you can reframe it as, I am learning and getting better each time. Instead of thinking, I am not confident enough, you can say, I'm developing confidence with every step I take. These small changes in wording don't just alter your mood, they reshape your mindset. Over time, your self-talk becomes your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. Positive self-talk also builds resilience. When life gets tough, your inner dialogue becomes your source of strength. Telling yourself, I can handle this, or this is hard, but I'll grow through it, helps you stay calm and focused under pressure. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start viewing them as opportunities to prove your strength. That's how champions think, not because they're fearless, but because their inner voice pushes them forward instead of holding them back. The beauty of changing your self-talk is that it doesn't just transform your mind, it transforms your entire world. When you begin speaking kindly to yourself, you start radiating confidence. You attract better energy, better people, and better results. Others sense your positivity and respond to it. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Everything around you begins to brighten. The truth is, the conversation you have with yourself never stops. Whether you're aware of it or not, it's always running in the background, shaping your beliefs and directing your path. So make it a conversation that builds you, not breaks you. Talk to yourself like someone you deeply care about. Encourage yourself the way you would encourage a friend. Every time you replace doubt with belief, criticism with compassion, fear with faith, you take back control of your mindset. In the end, your outer world is a mirror of your inner one. If you fill your mind with empowering words, your actions will follow with strength, confidence, and clarity. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you speak to yourself about it. And when your self-talk becomes rooted in belief, resilience, and purpose, your life begins to align with that same energy because the world always echoes the voice you listen to most. Whatever you focus on grows. This is one of the most powerful truths about the human mind. Your attention is like sunlight. Wherever you direct it, that part of your life begins to expand. Focus on problems, and they multiply. Focus on solutions, and you start discovering paths forward that you didn't even realize existed. Your mindset determines not only what you see, but what you attract, what you feel, and how you act. It's the invisible force shaping the visible reality around you. The human brain is wired to filter information every second. We're surrounded by millions of details, sights, sounds, sensations, but our brain only focuses on what it considers important. What we repeatedly think about, talk about, and pay attention to becomes the center of that focus. This is why two people can experience the same situation yet walk away with completely different interpretations. One sees loss, the other sees opportunity. The event is the same, the difference lies in focus. When you constantly focus on problems, your mind becomes an expert at spotting what's wrong. You start noticing every little inconvenience, every flaw, every reason why things can't work. You feed your thoughts with negativity, and in return, your life begins to mirror that. It's not that your problems suddenly grow larger, it's that your awareness of them does. You begin to attract more situations that confirm your beliefs because your subconscious mind is always trying to prove you right. If you keep saying, nothing ever works out for me, your brain will find evidence to support that statement. But when you shift your focus towards solutions, everything changes. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what can I do about it? That simple change in questioning turns helplessness into empowerment. It activates your creativity, your resourcefulness, and your ability to adapt. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as an active creator of outcomes. Your energy moves from complaint to contribution. You stop waiting for change, you become the change. A powerful mindset doesn't ignore problems, it redirects energy away from them. It acknowledges challenges but refuses to give them control. Every great achiever throughout history has practiced this principle. When something goes wrong, they don't dwell on it for long. They analyze, learn, adjust, and move forward. They understand that where focus goes, energy flows. So they channel that energy into progress rather than excuses. Excuses drain power. They make you feel momentarily comfortable but permanently stuck. Progress, on the other hand, may be uncomfortable at first, but it creates momentum. The moment you start focusing on what you can do instead of what you can't, your mind opens up to possibilities that were previously invisible. You begin to attract people, ideas, and circumstances that align with your focus. It's not magic, it's mindset. Consider this: when you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that same model everywhere on the road. It's not that there are suddenly more of them, it's that your mind is tuned in to notice them. The same happens with focus. If you constantly focus on opportunities, you'll start noticing them everywhere. If you focus on lack, you'll find more reasons to feel limited. Life doesn't change your lens, does? A focused mind also creates emotional stability. When you dwell on problems, you drain your emotional energy, which leads to stress and frustration. But when your attention is directed toward progress and growth, you generate motivation and clarity. You start waking up with purpose instead of worry. You begin to feel in control of your journey instead of lost within it. This doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or denying pain. It means choosing not to let negativity become your dominant focus. Pain can teach you, but it doesn't have to define you. The most resilient people are those who can find a lesson even in the darkest moments. They ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" rather than "Why me?" That simple reframe keeps them focused on growth rather than defeat. Energy is limited. Every day you only have so much mental and emotional fuel. If you spend it obsessing over what's wrong, you'll have nothing left for what's right. But if you invest it in building, learning, and improving, you create a cycle of expansion. The more you focus on progress, the more progress you create, and the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. That belief, in turn, fuels even greater results. Think of your focus like a magnifying glass. Whatever you place under it begins to intensify. If you put it over your fears, they'll grow stronger. If you place it over your goals, they'll come to life. The choice is always yours. You can either feed the fire of doubt or the flame of determination. One burns you out, the other lights your path. So when life throws challenges your way, pause and ask yourself where your focus is going. Are you feeding the problem or are you fueling the solution? Because your focus is the steering wheel of your life. Wherever you point it, that's where you'll go. A powerful mindset doesn't waste time blaming or complaining. It gathers its energy, directs it with purpose, and moves forward one focused step at a time, turning obstacles into opportunities and dreams into reality. The journey of mastering your mindset is not about pretending life is easy or perfect. It's about realizing that your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever have. Everything you've ever achieved, every dream you've ever imagined, every obstacle you've ever overcome began with a single thought. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. When you understand this truth deeply, you begin to take full responsibility for what you feed your mind every day, because whatever you focus on, speak about, and believe in eventually becomes your reality. Your mindset is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. A strong, positive mindset doesn't eliminate challenges, but it changes how you respond to them. It gives you the power to turn fear into courage, failure into wisdom, and pain into growth. The world around you may not always be under your control, but the world within you always is. Once you master that inner world, everything outside begins to align with it. We've explored how thoughts create outcomes, how the things you continuously think about shape what you attract into your life. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, your reality will mirror that darkness. But when you fill your mind with belief, hope, and possibility, you open doors that once seemed locked. Every great invention, success, or breakthrough started as a thought in someone's mind. The people who changed history weren't born extraordinary, they simply believed differently. They dared to think beyond limits and act on those thoughts until their vision became real. We also learned the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, two ways of seeing the world that can either confine you or set you free. A fixed mindset says, "I can't do this," while a growth mindset says, "I can't do this yet." That one word "yet" changes everything. It reminds you that failure is not final, that effort is not wasted, and that improvement is always possible. The people who rise are not those who never fall. They're the ones who learn, adapt, and rise again. Every setback becomes a stepping stone, every mistake a lesson, every delay a redirection towards something better. And that leads us to one of the greatest truths of all: failure is not the end, it's feedback. It's not meant to break you, but to build you. Failure shows you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Those who succeed in life are not the ones who never fail, they're the ones who refuse to give up. They treat failure as a teacher, not a judge. Each stumble refines their strategy, strengthens their will, and deepens their wisdom. The pain of failure becomes the power behind their progress. Your internal dialogue, the words you tell yourself every day, also shapes your path. The voice inside your head can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Positive self-talk builds resilience, confidence, and emotional strength. It reminds you that you are capable, worthy, and strong enough to overcome whatever stands in your way. On the other hand, negative self-talk breeds fear, self-doubt, and paralysis. The words you repeat to yourself eventually become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your actions. So if you want to change your life, you must first change the conversation you're having within yourself. Speak to yourself as someone you love. Encourage yourself as someone you believe in, and watch your entire world begin to shift. And finally, remember the principle of focus. Whatever you focus on grows. Your attention is energy, and where that energy goes, your reality expands. Focus on problems and you'll see more of them. Focus on solutions and you'll find ways to move forward. Life will always present you with challenges, but your focus determines whether those challenges become barriers or building blocks. A powerful mindset doesn't waste time blaming or complaining, it channels its energy toward progress. It looks for possibilities instead of limitations, and in doing so, it creates momentum that no obstacle can stop. In the end, your mindset is the lens through which you experience life. You can't always change what happens around you, but you can always change how you perceive it, respond to it, and grow from it. The difference between a life of struggle and a life of strength lies in how you think. When you choose to see lessons instead of losses, hope instead of fear, and growth instead of defeat, you begin to transform not only your circumstances, but also your identity. You evolve from someone who reacts to life into someone who creates it. So as you move forward, guard your mind like the treasure it is. Fill it with ideas that inspire, beliefs that empower, and words that uplift. When you change your mindset, you change your energy. When you change your energy, you change your direction, and when you change your direction, you change your destiny. Remember, your mindset is not just a part of your life, it is your life. It shapes every choice, every habit, and every dream. Cultivate it with care, strengthen it with purpose, and live every day knowing that the power to design your reality has been within you all along.